It's the Dynasty Pulse weekend warm-up for Week 10, and we're kicking it old school. Producer, kick it one time. Welcome to another edition of the Dynasty Pulse. It's the weekend warm-up, Week 10 of the NFL season. You got the ultimate ball knowledge in the building. We're kicking it old school with the three OG hosts right here on Fantasy Sports Advice Network, the Undroppables, and 101.5, talking West Tennessee. I'm bigz. Grindberg is with me. Schultzy's in the building. And we got a great show. It's been a while since it's been just the three of us. And we're going to get into a whole bunch of probing. We got stocks up and stocks down later on. How are you guys doing?
Doing awesome. I can't complain. Ready for Week 10. Schultzy, how are you doing, buddy?
Good. We're just enamored by bigz's ability to drop run plays pre-show.
Yeah, and
right.
He's now on his seven shots of yours.
This is number two.
So every point that the Raiders scored on Thursday Night Football, our big man bigz is taking a shooter for every point. So currently the Raiders are up 7-0, and it's looking like he might score some more points tonight. So he's on shot number 2, but he's sipping, and we'll check in on him as the night goes on, but shouldn't have too much trouble over the next 45 to 50 minutes. Bigz, are you going to be in some trouble here?
Nope.
No.
All right. This is Green River Foolproof Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Comes in at a whisper of a 117.3 proof. That's 58.65%.
I trust you.
Here we go.
Tomorrow or
not till tomorrow night.
Okay, so tomorrow night you got lots of room to grow. All right, boys, it's time for the probing session, and a lot going on in the football community, and we got a lot to talk about and what inquiring minds want to know. And the first one is our big storyline here: JJ McCarthy's epic comeback. Could this young quarterback be the next dynasty game changer? That position has been volatile, especially for the Vikings over the last little while. JJ McCarthy returned from a high ankle sprain, highlights both the risk and the reward of chasing upside at the position. After weeks of uncertainty, McCarthy led the Vikings to that great win over the Lions, throwing for 2 touchdowns, rushing for another, demonstrating leadership beyond his 22 years. I mean, great, record in college with Michigan. I think he only lost 1 game his whole college career. So he's a born leader, a born winner, and his ability to scramble behind that, a struggling offensive line showed his poise. Now we've analyzed JJ extensively all offseason and this season after his recent performance, bigz, his leadership display. What's your current temperature on him? Where do you mark McCarthy among the dynasty quarterback options right now? Are you buying? Are you selling? What's happening in your mind right now?
I'm absolutely buying. I have made no secret of how high I am on JJ McCarthy and how high I've been since the wide receiver showcase at the Combine before his rookie draft. I'm still at the same level with JJ McCarthy, only now I have some NFL data to go by, and looking at it just based on the eye test, watching this kid win, he's going to be the quarterback of the future for the Minnesota Vikings. He's in a Kevin O'Connell offense. We see what that does to quarterbacks. It creates guys like Sam Darnold. It's a plug-and-play offense. Kirk Cousins had his best years in Kevin O'Connell's offense. It's an offshoot of Kyle Shanahan, and we see how offenses that are offshoots of Kyle Shanahan do, like Clint Kubiak's in Seattle right now, previous years with Mike McDaniel down in Miami. We know it's successful. It works. That's the situation that JJ McCarthy finds himself in. He's also got the weapons. Pro Bowl tight end TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, who's an elite wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, who is a top 3 wide receiver every season. Jordan Mason is a highly efficient running back. They've got to get the running back room squared away. I really wish they had made a trade for Breece Hall just for a playoff run. But I am not out, nor will I ever be on JJ McCarthy. He's got the velocity. He's got the composure. He knows how to rally the troops. He's a good NFL quarterback. And I tried to tell everybody when we were doing our quarterback tiers before the season started that JJ McCarthy, for me, fits snugly into the tier 2. He's got some rushing upside. We saw that against Chicago. He's got a big arm. He's going to be able to do it. He just needs incubation time. And if he's on offer right now, if you've got a team who's looking for pieces to make a playoff run, or if you see a team who's floundering and needs to take on some draft picks, go get JJ McCarthy, especially year 3. It stays healthy. He's going to be a winner. He's got a national championship under his belt. I mean, I'm as high on JJ McCarthy as I've ever been.
Yeah, man, me too, buddy. And I'm with you here. And he's only had how many handful of NFL starts? And when you think about it, his first real one was week 1 this year, and getting off the jitters. And then he had that fourth quarter comeback. So, I mean, 3 quarters of jitters. And then he gets a really underrated Falcon defense week 2. We seen what, that defense has done to other teams. And, that's a tough road to go down. And then this bounce back game here after an injury, like what I saw, I was high on him going into the season, and I wasn't losing faith either, Big. So I'm with you here. I hope that he can continue, build off of that. That's going to give him some confidence, that game winning against their division rivals there in the Lions. Schultzy, anything to add to that, buddy?
I mean, I've been the guy who's had some pushback here. I'm not 100% there yet. I still feel like this could be a little reactionary. And yeah, he had that one quarter, fourth quarter, week 1 that he really just balled out and brought him back to a win. He looked really good this week. And I said on a redraft show to sit him this week. And clearly that was wrong. Like that was a bad call. I mean, steps in the right direction for JJ. Like he's making me believe, he's starting to, and I still think there's a little pushback to be at here. I'm not 100% there yet. I do want to see more, but I get it. I get it, man.
And spoiler alert, but we're going to contrast that in this show with one of his draft class mates who I have in my stock down segment. So you'll have to stick around for that one.
Okay, well, the book's not out. I mean, it's such a small, profile to assess right now. There's not much to view. He's only had a handful of NFL starts, and what you see is what you might see from a rookie. That yo-yo syndrome, and something to build off of. He's got a great coach that has been known to build quarterbacks, and he's been the quarterback whisperer, if you will. So I'm excited to see what JJ can bring this latter half. And maybe I guess still holding my breath.
I guess one of the reasons I just want to see more, right, is because I mean we're coming off 2 seasons in a row where we crowned Anthony Richardson as the next thing. We came off this past season, we crowned Jaden Daniels as the next QB1. Both of those have been mega flops of takes. Like, we got to be honest about that. Like, both guys, I mean, Richardson just sucked, but Daniels hasn't totally sucked. He's been hurt, but like, even when he's been healthy, he hasn't been the guy that we're expecting. So the sophomore slump is real. And I get that JJ's in his sophomore season, but like, for all intents and purposes, it's his rookie season.
And you're not wrong.
So, yeah.
And we watched something similar happen with Sam Howell, who for 14 weeks was QB6 or QB4 or whatever. And then since then, he's just been a journeyman bounce around. But fantasy wise, he does have that upside. So You're right. It remains to be seen, but I believe in the ceiling with JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, like I said when my first comments, like I get it. Like I'm not going to push back that hard. I just still have slight reservations.
All right. Well, Schultzy, I'm going to move to your storyline because it's been heating up, and we talked a little bit about him on our redraft show, and we didn't even really talk too much about Rico Dowdle in our Dynasty show, and that's a pretty hot topic right now. Where does he land? He's heating up. What is his true value in Dynasty? He's quietly become one of the NFL's hottest running backs over the past 5 weeks. 652 rushing yards, 103 carries since taking over the duties for the Panthers in week 5.
Duties.
His 130 yards per game over that stretch outpaces nearly every elite back. He's third in the NFL in rushing over that time, despite playing fewer games than some of the top stars. Carolina has leaned on him. He's the centerpiece of their offense. I mentioned that earlier. Now we're looking at him. What is he worth for contending teams? What's your take on his dynasty value right now, Schultzy? What would you realistically give up in a trade for him if you were a contender? And where are you ranking him among running backs in dynasty at this stage of this season?
Well, first of all, I am a contender, but I already have him. I have Chuba, and I drafted Rico as a backup. And I'm going to be honest, I did it because we've seen Rico be a solid running back before, like in his time in Dallas when it was his turn and injuries and stuff. Like he is filled in and he was pretty solid. Now he wasn't this guy, but like I just like for a backup running back, if you're going for a handcuff, like it's not something I typically do. Like that's not a heavy strategy of mine, but for this instance, I just like the talent and the potential opportunity here, and it's paying off huge. If I'm gonna be buying in, like I've seen a lot of on the trade database of just him straight up for a first, and even some 27 first, which I feel like is kind of crazy considering the buzz of the 27 class. But if you're a legit contender pushing for this, that's kind of the price you're going to pay for a top end running back. And I don't have much qualms about him being a top 10 to 15 guy the rest of the season. I think him being like a weekly top 5 running back is probably not in the cards. I mean, if you want to look at the schedule, he faced Miami, Dallas, and the Jets back to back to back. Just plus matchups on defense, right? Now, the Buffalo game,
go ahead. The Packers. So
I was getting there.
Yeah,
like they got completely scripted out of that game against the Bills. They got smashed. But this weekend against the Packers was a big step for them. He went for 130 yards, over 5 yards to carry, 2 touchdowns against a very good defense. And I think that did a lot to spell some concerns after a stretch of games against bad defenses. He plays in a high volume run offense. Like they clearly don't trust Bryce Young to go out there and win the game himself. And the defense is keeping them around for the most part. So that adds up to a crap load of carries for Rico Dowdle. And if he's going to be the unquestioned guy, he's got an RB1 price tag. And I don't really have much of an issue with that. He's third in rushing yards after not getting significant touches until week 5. He's 9th in yards per reception on 15 receptions, 3rd in yards per touch in the league, 6th in breakaway runs. He's already got almost half the red zone attempts as Bryce Young has red zone throws. And like I said, he didn't even start getting the touches until week 5. So when they get down to the red zone, they're giving him the ball. He's just been pounding defenses. Like you got to love what you see top to bottom here from Rico. And if, like I said, if you are a big contender here, I think at this point, if you feel confident about being a back end first round pick in a class that people are calling, a little bit down, especially with the 27 one coming, I think at this point I'm okay sending a 26 first for him. The schedule does get a lot tougher for them. Like he's got Atlanta, San Francisco, and then the Rams in 3 games back to back here for the playoff push, which is not ideal. But like I said, the defense has kept him around and he gets all the carries. Like that's all we can really ask for at this point. If we're talking dynasty rankings though, I think back end running back 2, high end running back 3 is probably where he settles in for me. Some of that's going to be the uncertainty of his his future here. Like, he's going to hit free agency again, and who knows what's going to happen. Like, someone's probably going to pay him, I'm sure, but that could very well be a garbage team. And then all of a sudden we're talking about we don't really like Rico much anymore. So I think that's a big concern for me, and why I don't push him up to like the same tier as the rest of the season rankings. A lot of uncertainty in his future.
So I don't disagree with you. I except the one quibble I have is I'm not going to give up a 2026 first for him. We saw a running back who last year finished 15th in EPA efficiency, and I think that's exactly what we're looking at. We might be revealing a bump from the Dallas offensive line to the Carolina offensive line, and it might just be that Carolina's offensive line, I mean, as far as I know, they have a winning record. Doesn't mean that they're in contention, but they're certainly ahead of where they were a couple of years ago. Maybe their offensive line is legit in the running game, and Rico Dowdle is benefiting from that, where the Cowboys were less than last year. And so you see some of those efficiency metrics that are actually being boosted, because some of his finishes, like you were talking about, where he's at in total receptions, total yards, all that stuff, that doesn't track as a number 15 EPA per play running back. That tracks in the top 12. And so I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that this is who he is and this is who he can be moving forward. And he's in a better situation than he was in Dallas, but there's still that matter. I mean, we knew who he was coming into Carolina. It was that Chuba Hubbard was the RB1 in that running back room, and we didn't know if Dowdle was going to have the opportunity to take over. And so I've been hesitant, maybe too hesitant. I didn't see him coming last week, because the week prior, when Hubbard had come back, it was a split backfield.
Mhm.
Last week, Rico took over. So maybe that was a game script thing. I mean, I'm just saying, hedge. Don't expect last week to happen every single week from now on, because it just happened. Now, if it happens 2 or 3 weeks in a row, then it's all systems go for Rico. So now would be your buy low opportunity. Now would be the time that you could try and get him for a second round pick, maybe a piece. In 3 weeks, if he keeps repeating this, he's definitely going to be worth a 2026 first.
I think he's there now at this stage because of where we are in the stage of the season. People are kind of knowing where they are, and they're savvy to these moves too. Like, I mean, the guy just took over a backfield in a Canales offense. We've seen what he did with Rashad White with the Bucks. I'm looking at this as a guy that is really productive for his running backs. And when a guy is leading that running back room, I'm pushing my chips a little bit early on him. Maybe I'm ahead of my skis. I'm willing to take that bite on a contending team if I can get a piece. I'm with Schultzy on that one. I think he's worth a first right now for me on a contender. But I mean, bigz, you might play it a bit safer, and I respect that as well, because you're making me think of that possibility on some of my rosters here that I'm just automatically going to start him for the rest of the year. He might not be just that plug and play guy for me, and might push back on me making a move on him in some other leagues that I have an opportunity to take a bite on him. So yeah, thinking about it now.
And hey, you mentioned the Dave Canales thing. It's the same Dave Canales offense in effect that had us drafting Chuba in 7th round of a startup. I mean, yeah. I mean, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, he could be productive, and if he gets the lion's share of that, and he's proven to do that, then yeah. But there is also that fear that maybe Chuba could be getting healthier as well. I mean, look at what he did at the final stretch of last year as well. You know, he was a league winner in a lot of scenarios down the stretch in 2024 for the Panthers, and was very productive in that offense, that same Canales offense. So that's why Chuba was going at that stage, and there's nothing saying that might not happen again. You know, if Rico hits an injury or a cold streak, right? Like, and the way that Rico runs, that might not be right outside of his wheelhouse either.
Yeah, I love the way you just said the way he runs, because, like, dude, the eye test for him so far this season with this offense has just been absolutely awesome. Like, he's just pounding people and finishing runs and making people miss, and it's been explosive. Eye test wise, he's blown us out of the water.
And yeah,
The other thing is Chuba Hubbard on a $5.7 million contract, Rico Dowdle on a $2.7 million contract. And usually the squeaky wheel and the money get the grease.
but if you're beating and you're the reason your team is winning games, I don't
Right.
care if it's 5 million or 2 million for a running back. I mean, it's no different at that stage. Like it's the guys, changing the way they play the game and winning games for a team that wasn't winning before Rico showed up. So yeah, they struggled, and
Right. But we're also talking about NFL GMs, and we've seen them not do the right thing for year over year over year over year. How long was Najee Harris the primary ball carrier when Tyler Warren was more efficient per snap than Najee Harris? And they still kept giving the ball to Najee Harris 250 times a year when they could have benefited from Tyler Warren. That is the kind of thing that NFL GMs do because they're looking at their pocketbook, etc. I'm not saying that Rico's not better than Chuba. I'm saying that a lot of times salary becomes a concern, and that's one of those things that people tend to overlook.
Jalen Warren.
That's what I meant.
That's what I meant.
Tyler Warren would have been funny running for the Steelers and catching for Penn State.
Well, let's
continue
on to these Colts, okay? Because the next storyline, another question is Michael Pittman Jr. From draft steal to wide receiver 6. Can he keep dominating while he's emerged as one of the most consistent, high-performing wide receivers this season through 9 games? He's posted 52 receptions, 561 yards, 6 touchdowns on 67 targets, making him, like I said, wide receiver 6. Not too big of a target share, 24%, but he ranks 15 in the NFL in total targets, tied 4th in receiving touchdowns. The Colts have the second most dangerous scoring threat, while tougher matchups loom, facing top 10 defenses like the Falcons, the Chiefs, the Texans, and they've proven that they've got an elite offensive unit. He's been a league-winning asset to date here, bigz, with tougher matchups ahead. How are you viewing him, first of all, as a long-term dynasty asset at this stage? I know you mentioned on one of our shows here that you traded him in one of your leagues here. Is he someone that you would confidently hold as a cornerstone now? Is it time to explore trade options while his stock is high?
Well, I was going to lead off with, I don't know if it's a coincidence that this question is in here because I didn't read this question in the show sheet before I made the trade today. I did trade in my most important Dynasty Home League for Michael Pittman. I traded away Malik Neighbors. I got back Michael Pittman, a 2026 second, and the essentially guaranteed 2026 first, the 101. Okay. Here's my thinking. Michael Pittman is on one. He's absolutely on a heater right now, and he is the number one option in that offense. He has had some injury history. He's dealt with, missing time here and there, having slow games because of nagging injuries, etc. This year, it seems he's finally putting everything together, and he's Daniel Jones' number one target. Over the last 3 weeks, he has 9, 9, and 12 targets, over 20 points, over 23 points, over 20 points. Those are his second, third, and fourth 20-point performances. You throw in a 19.3-point performance, a couple of double-digit performances. He's absolutely been on a heater this year. Looking forward through the next 4 weeks, he has a tough schedule. He's got Atlanta this week. They're on bye in week 11. Then he's got KC and Houston. But then it opens up. Week 14, he has the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is the beginning of a lot of playoffs. Seattle in week 15, and then the championship weeks, San Francisco and Jacksonville, which are plus matchups. I am counting on him, and I made the trade to make a playoff run. I didn't have to give up any picks. I gave up injured Malik Neighbors, who makes no difference to me this year because he's hurt. He's on the IR for the rest of the year. This is a win-now move. It's something that I'm willing to do to stake my future on winning the money this year. And then I have a couple years to recover from dealing with Malik Neighbors, which hurt my heart, I have to tell you. But I do have trust in Michael Pittman. I have trust in this Indianapolis offense to make a run, and for Daniel Jones and Michael Pittman to be the prime movers in that offense. And so for this year, his stock is up. I'm willing to pay, and you should be too.
So where is he at as like a dynasty asset now in rankings for you? Top 12 wide receiver, when you consider what the Colts just did. They just traded away 2 first-round picks, so they're going to probably end up paying Daniel Jones at this stage. They don't have a first-round pick to go out and draft a quarterback. I think the cards are set up here. Michael Pittman looks like he's going to be a Colt for a while. So what do you think is his dynasty value now? Connected with Daniel Jones, probably for a longer-term contract now. Liking what I see there.
I will have to revisit my top 20 rankings when the season is over. But if he slots into that top 15, I give him a 2 or 3 year window before I'm going to look to move off from him. If he finishes in the top 10 this year, I am absolutely going to look to move him at his highest sell point, because I don't think he's going to repeat this.
Okay. So it's not sustainable with Daniel Jones next year, you don't think?
I'm not 100% sure. I really like Alec Pierce, and I think he has grown a whole lot in this offense, and same with Tyler Warren. So it could be, as those two grow more, Tyler Warren kind of comes into his NFL shoes and Alec Pierce starting to fill them out now, that Michael Pittman becomes less of a focus because they've got more weapons. This could be the beginning of a really good stretch for the Indianapolis Colts, and I think they see the same thing. They traded away A.D. Mitchell, who is essentially works the same as Alec Pierce did the last few years, but Alec Pierce's route tree is expanding, and that's bad news for defenses. We know Josh Downs as a possession slot. Tyler Warren is going to emerge. He may not be the best tight end of this class, but he's definitely going to be productive for his entire NFL career. And then you got Pittman. You also have Jonathan Taylor. So they can control the ball with the running game and not have to throw 40 times a game. All those things lead up to it could become one of those offenses that I hate owning, because there are so many different pieces, and the Colts are going to be a contender for a while. Sorry, Jags fans.
I agree. Yeah.
I think you're spot on about a potential drop. Maybe not this year, but years down the road, because I think if things go according to plan in Indianapolis, Tyler Warren's going to be the number one guy, like the number one target guy over the next handful of years. That's my hunch.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, you can't dismiss what Jonathan Taylor's doing either. I mean, this team is built right now to win, I think. And they obviously have made a move to push their chips in, and they could look at this year and next year and see what happens. Like 2 first-round picks for a defensive player, that's a hefty ransom, and you're just kind of just selling your future at quarterback, in my opinion, knowing that you're going to probably long-term, sign Daniel Jones at this stage. He's proven to be worthy of it. I think he's bringing that offense into a elite level. I mean, he's being compared to teams like the Rams of the olden days with Kurt Warner. I mean, I don't think they're quite there. I mean, that's a small sample size right now, 10 games, but came back to life last week a bit here. So he might have turned back into a pumpkin, if you will, but maybe there's a hedge bet here. He's maybe not quite what he's been playing, but certainly not what he was in years past.
I think the big thing to note here with the Colts offense, though, is they've legitimately played 2 good defenses so far all season. Like bigz mentioned that the schedule gets pretty tough here in the next month, and it really does. And these next 3 games for them are going to be a real litmus test for this offense.
I think they're ready for it. We'll see. They got
I'm ready for it.
All right,
bring me the ring.
Let's get into our stock up, stock down segment. We're half an hour in, and let's rip into this segment, boys. And let's start with Schultzy. You want to do your stock up, bud?
Yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, if you saw the forecast this week, I said I don't like him, and I think you could sit him this week, and I stand by that. But the stock is up because it looks like the Kyler Murray thing might be done here, and it's also looking like Kyler Murray really might have been holding Marv back. Jacoby Brissett's looking like he's going to push in the ball, and I think the stock is going up for Marvin Harrison Jr. And this could be a team that looks very, very different next year, right? Maybe a new coaching staff, new quarterback, whatever. And those kind of changes might be what Marv needs, especially heading into year 3.
Was a Kyler Murray problem, right? Biggs. Who would have forecasted that one?
I have been trying to say Marvin Harrison Jr. was not going to be good until Kyler Murray was no longer his quarterback.
And it's looking like you're probably right.
He's right. Look what's happening right now.
Best game of the season with a backup quarterback.
He's stringing along here, and I've had some bites on him. People trying to acquire him for cheap, thinking, at this stage, you could still get him, a little bit discounted. I mean, but when you look at what you paid for him last year in rookie drafts, a lot of people had him over Malik Neighbors, and, that's 101 last year, essentially, when you think about how that was going, even in startups and stuff like that.
Well,
so
super flex is probably Caleb, but
yeah, I mean, there was some floating back and forth, I remember. But yeah, it was Caleb and then Jaden, and then you would hear a lot of Marvin getting into that top 3 to top 5, and even flirted with the 1 pick. So
he was the 101 in single quarterback.
Absolutely, for sure,
Right.
he was. And bigz tried to get a lot of people off of that, for a while because of that connection potential growing pains with Kyler Murray. And I followed suit, tailed, and saw a lot. And until we see this progression from Kyler, I think it's going to be more of the same. And I'm not sure he'll ever play another game for the Cardinals. What do you guys think?
No, I don't think he will. And
it's
if you had,
entirely possible.
If you had listened to me, you would have drafted an asset that you could have moved, who's now injured in Malik Neighbors.
Exactly.
And gotten more than you get from Marvin Harrison Jr. But also a couple weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, on the Fantasy Forecast waiver wire show, I said to pick up the quarter. What's his name?
Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett. That's what I don't know why Dobbins was flashing my head. I said to pick up Jacoby Brissett, and look how that's turned out.
Look at how that's turned out.
He took over.
All right, Troy Franklin.
Not as good as trading for Joe Flacco, though. Am I right?
So this is number 5. I'm still 3 behind. The other shots were Snapple, so I didn't say what I was going to take a shot of, but now I have to drink a beer.
I could tell the color was lighter, but I wasn't going to call you out.
Oh, I'm accountable. I'll tell you.
All right, I'll get into my stock up then. And it's kind of like we talked about him like crazy. And, there's been some controversy now within his market value, and that's Rico Dowdle. But certainly stock up when you look at what he's done over the past 5 games. And after years of bouncing between backup roles, he's got his shot, and he should have had it, in my opinion, last year a little bit more. That just didn't fit in the Cowboys for some reason. And now Canales has unleashed him. He's a true 3-down workhorse, and that power running style, we love to see it. Like Schultzy mentioned, completely passes that eye test. 5.1 yards per carry. That's pretty good. Top 5 among qualifying running backs since week 6. 84 of his 130 30 yards came after contact, so second most in the NFL. So I like what I saw last week as well, and that was against a tough Packers defense. So I'm still very leery about what his actual dynasty value is right now, because it's in a very volatile role in the running backs, and contracts not there for next year. But if I were to make a bet right now, I would say that he's probably going to be a Panther next year, the way that he's been playing, and they'll probably extend him. And get a shot again. And if he does that, then his value is going to skyrocket this offseason. So I'm going to try and hold on to my shares and only settle for a first, because that's what some people are paying for right now. So yeah, Rico Dowdle completely on the stock up.
Get it if you can get it.
Get it if you can get it. Biggs, who's your stock up?
Can I mention real quick that I just looked it up. The Panthers have a potential out on Chuba's contract after this season for only $4.5 million in dead cap. So that's a real possibility.
Yep. I was looking at that earlier.
Mm-hmm. All right, man.
All right. My stock up is going to be newly minted Jacksonville Jaguar wide receiver Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby!
I was a big fan of Jacoby Myers when he was in New England. He showed slot skills that were elite, and as soon as he went to the Raiders, I was kind of happy, because that's something that he could do alongside of Devontae Adams, and they had two legitimate wide receiver threats. And his first year in Las Vegas, that played out. He finished as wide receiver 24 with 219.58 fantasy points, wide receiver 24 in PPR, 8 total touchdowns. Last year, he had a 129 target season with 87 catches, over 1,000 yards. The first time he had over 1,000 yards. And with the addition of new quarterback Geno Smith, I was pretty happy with Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers being the primary receiving targets in the Raiders offense. And that didn't happen. Myers wanted a new contract. He wanted to come off a 129 target season and say, hey, I'm worth something, pay me. The Raiders weren't willing to negotiate yet. They couldn't come to a deal. He became disgruntled, had one of the worst QBRs when targeted, even though he led the team in targets, 0 touchdowns up to this point in the season. Said the right things in the press, but told the Raiders that he wanted to be traded. Expiring contract, Raiders got out from underneath him. I think they got a 4th and a 6th. Whatever they got, it's going to be more than what they would have gotten in compensation if he had been signed away as a free agent. So they did their best. He's in a new situation. And it just so happens to be at a point in time where the two primary receivers in Jacksonville are on the mend. Brian Thomas Jr. is questionable every week. He's dealing with injuries. He's also dealing with the dropsies. He's dealing with
yips,
maybe a 50-cent head, the yips, and Travis Hunter is sidelined for a while. So Trevor Lawrence needs a primary target out there. Yes, Parker Washington is good. Yes, De'Ami Brown can, do some things, but neither of them can lead a wide receiver room the way that Jacoby Myers has shown that he could do, like last year when Devontae Adams was traded to the Jets and Jacoby Myers took over. He can be the wide receiver 1 in a program. He may not be a top 15 fantasy wide receiver 1, but he will be that for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And for that, he's going to see a boost in his stats and his stature from this point rest of the season. The stock is up.
Yes, I love this trade for the Jaguars. It's just what they need, a guy who's not going to drop the ball. They're charted at 30 drops already this year on the season, and honestly, that feels low. Brian Thomas, they say he's at 9. I don't buy that for half a second. That number is double digits, and you won't convince me otherwise. It's just been that bad. But like in Trevor's whole career, the only legitimate, reliable hands receiver he's played with, Marvin Jones. And this was the ghost of Marvin Jones. Like back end of career Marvin Jones is the only legitimately trustworthy receiver Trevor's had out there that he knows he can put the ball there and that guy's going to come down with it. He's played with Zay Jones, Christian Kirk. I mean, now BTJ. I think Hunter's going to get there. We've seen... What?
Sorry. You mispronounced California Golden Bear legend Marvin Jones.
Yeah, love him, man. He was great for them. And I mean, Calvin Ridley struggled with drops. Trevor's played with so many wide receivers who struggle with drops. And Travis Hunter's not going to be that guy. Like we've seen the ball skills out of him. I'm not worried about that. But yeah, he's on IR now. Big opportunity for Jacoby Myers. Just don't drop the damn ball. Like it's not that hard. And that's what this guy doesn't drop the ball.
It's literally your job.
Do you
Right.
think that Trevor throws a wobbly ball or something? Like,
no. I mean, I'm not falling for that bait.
I got wobbly balls.
The one dude on Twitter who's been railing him for not throwing a catchable ball has been posting like charts of catchable targets and stuff. And Trevor's like, he was 11th in catchable ball rate. So like that dude just destroyed his own narrative with one chart. So moving along.
could be the wobbly balls. That's all I gotta say. All right, let's get into the stock.
Oh,
Down,
those wobbly
Schultzy.
balls.
Dang wobbly balls.
Let's get your wobbly ball out now.
Brees Hall for me, stock is down because he did not get traded, and that sucks for him. But mainly stock down because if you've got some ammo and you're looking to retool for 26 and beyond, like go get Brees Hall because he's going to be a free agent, and I have a feeling we are going to get a Saquon-like explosion out of him next year. Like maybe not quite what we saw out of Saquon, but like similar situation where what you could probably trade for Brees Hall right now for a little bit cheaper, but what's his price going to be in March when he goes and signs with the Chiefs, or he goes and signs in Kansas City, or he goes and signs in Minnesota? Like once that happens, the price is skyrocketed right back up. So if you want some Brees Hall, like now's your chance. And look, if you even could potentially contend this year, like I don't love it for this year, but if that's where you're at, fantasy playoffs, Miami, Jacksonville Saints. I love that. So yeah, man, Brees Hall, the stock is down because he didn't get traded. It's not looking the best. I think they might give some run to Isaiah Davis, see what they got there. But great buy low candidate, Brees Hall.
I agree. He's always a buy candidate for me.
Yeah.
Whether his stock rises up or rises down, anytime I can acquire Brees Hall, he's a generational talent. He's one of the best prospect profiles we ever saw coming out of college. He just has had a crappy situation. It reminds me a lot of Treylon Burks. Like that dude has had some of the worst roster luck of any. Trevor Lawrence too. Like these guys fall into bad situations, and sometimes talent doesn't overcome. We're not like.
It's not college football.
Right. So, yeah, I love Brees always and forever.
Always, forever, near and far. All right. So my stock down goes hand in hand with my stock up, and that's Chuba Hubbard. I mean, it's pretty obvious his stock is sinking, and not sure it's going to be able to recover until he's in a new situation. He saw just 17% of the team's carries, 17% of the snap share last week, both season lows. Averaged only 3.4 yards per carry since week 6. I know he's been battling an injury, probably came back sooner than he needed to based off of maybe some pressure coming up from Rico Dowdle playing so well. Probably needed to get back into the lineup to try and save his job, but I think right now his window is definitely closing here, and unless an injury happens, in my opinion, maybe obviously bigz mentioned that the contract also might be looming, potentially getting him some more playing time. So that might keep some fantasy managers glued to him. Tough situation here for Chuba. Obviously, his stock is down. Not sure if I'm buying any of it right now, regardless.
I'll sell him.
I'll sell him something's
Not
dying.
yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold on to him until he goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
Where Rico's not.
All right there, bigz. Finish it off with your stock down.
All right, my stock down is my Penix. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Michael Penix. Speaking of wobbly balls, I teased earlier that I was going to contrast JJ McCarthy with
you
a quarterback.
Teased us?
being teased by the Penix. I was going to contrast JJ McCarthy with one of his draft mates, and that's Michael Penix from the Atlanta Falcons. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about first is draft age. And there's a high correlation of NFL success for being a third-year declare, coming out early as a junior, and excelling. And one of the reasons for that is when you can play at the level that it takes to get drafted in the first round at 21 years old, and it takes you until your 24-year-old season before you can play at that level, there's a disparity in talent there. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy was drafted a little bit higher than Michael Penix Jr. For the Raiders that year, I wanted them to get J.J. McCarthy, but he wasn't available. And then Michael Penix, shockingly, was not available either. But we see two very similar trajectories. J.J. McCarthy going into Minnesota, hurting himself, missing his entire first year. Michael Penix coming in as a rookie, sitting on the bench until Kirk Cousins fully imploded before Penix got some run. Then both of them starting their sophomore seasons. J.J. McCarthy off to a slower start than Michael Penix, but at this point, Michael Penix is quarterback 25. Now, if you're playing in a Superflex league, that's non-startable. This guy had first-round draft capital, and he has not cashed in on that. J.J. McCarthy has a better profile simply because he was a third-year early declare. Michael Penix took quite a while to kind of get himself going in the college game, where J.J. McCarthy was ready real quickly. There's a big talent disparity. I love J.J. McCarthy. I'm out on Penix. I've been out on Penix for a long, long time, and it doesn't look like he is doing anything to thwart what I thought he was going to do. If we look, he has he has two games with over 20 points, finishing better than QB 12. He has one QB 12 finish. He's also finished as QB 32, 31, and QB 19. That's not going to cut it. It becomes a matchup dependent thing. That's not somebody that you want to draft as your QB1 or QB2. He is firmly in the QB3 spot when a lot of people had very high hopes for him. I don't, and I never will. Michael Penix's stock is down.
All right.
Yeah, I was going to say when you were mentioning that he's QB, what did you say, 25?
Yeah.
I was going to say that's coming off a 3-touchdown game.
Yeah.
Stock down, Dante Thornton Jr.
Absolutely.
Got to catch that ball, man.
The experts were wrong, especially this one. But I mean, Gino put it right on the money, and
that was a great ball.
We said that Gino was going to benefit from these deep threats, and he got it. It just Thornton. That's a catch Thornton needs to make.
Right.
Number 7.
There it is.
Let's go.
Let's go, bigz. All right, 7 deep, and we're 7 deep and 10 weeks into the fantasy football.
Oh no, we're
season.
about to get a field goal.
10 deep, week 10, 10 shots. Let's go, bigz, and a field goal before the half. I love it.
I got to go get that chilada.
All right, man.
And I will also say real quick, as the one guy who's pushed back on multiple occasions on J.J. McCarthy, I 100% agree about him versus Penix.
If you own Michael Penix, try and trade him for J.J. McCarthy. See what happens.
Worth a shot.
And there you have it. All right, boys. It's over. The show.
We did it.
We did it. We did a show.
Did it.
All right. Bring us home, bigz.
We taking my car?
Yeah, I don't know.
Actually, I'll drive, though. We could take your car, but
yeah,
I'll drive.
I'll see you guys in about 4 days. Thank you for watching. If you're new here, like and subscribe, hit the bell. Make sure that you don't miss any of our content. And also watch all of the other fantasysportsadvice.com shows. We got a ton of great content. If you play in redraft leagues, there are some nuances and differences between those and dynasty leagues. You're probably an expert because you're watching a dynasty show, so you're a DGen already. But we do have some value to add with the fantasy forecast. We got shows Thursday night after Thursday night football. We've got a show on Friday with our sits, Saturday with our starts. Breakfast with bigz, 8:30 a.m. That starts and sits and a cocktail with me. Spilled coffee coming right up after that. And then we wrap it around on the weekend. We drop Tuesday, our weekend wrap up and waiver wire show. We want to see you there for all of them. Make sure you comment, ask questions, engage. We're here for you. And we want to be a part of your fantasy life. That didn't sound right. Thank you for watching. We hope you win.
We hope you win.
We hope you win.
I know I'm a part of your fantasy life already.